Kenobi knew that someday the stories he would write would go on to inspire great change in the galaxy. Change that would be executed by Luke Skywalker, not just containing anecdotes of his time as a Jedi Padawan, Knight, and Master. His collection of journals included meaningful lessons to learn from. But how exactly did he write his entries? It's much more interesting than you would think, and it shows us exactly what type of mental battles Obi-Wan was fighting while hiding away on Tatooine. In the beautiful, swirling sand dunes of the Sand Bowl planet, Obi-Wan Kenobi was sitting perched up high on a rocky ridge. Though at the mercy of the ruthlessly beating sun above, mentally, the former Jedi Master was on an entirely different plane of existence. In all this time alone with his thoughts, Kenobi had managed to concentrate his Force powers so effectively that he was almost one with the Force. This deep level of meditation not only meant that he wrote these memoirs through the telepathic levitation of his stationery, but he accessed through thoughts and memories usually too deep within his consciousness to rise to the surface. It was almost a form of exploration for him. Not wanting to put himself in physical danger by going into town himself, he kept himself and Luke safe by attracting no attention and staying far away in the dunes, and therefore explored his own thoughts, distilled into his writing. Though he started to sour on the idea of the Order as a whole, with seemingly no other existing Jedi to connect with, Obi-Wan did this for one person and one person only: Luke. By this point, Uncle Owen had doubled down on his stance that Kenobi would never be allowed to contact Luke. Owen feared that his precious adopted son would fall just like Kenobi's other apprentice. But the Jedi Master knew that he needed to find a way to train the farm boy. Skywalker was itching for any and all reasons to leave his dead-end surroundings and fight for a cause. And if Kenobi couldn't physically teach the boy about the Jedi, he felt the only way was to do it through writing. As he sat high up in the dune, he was nearly knocked out by the extreme heat and isolation. It seemed odd that he had put so much effort into writing his journal, but it was exceedingly clear that it was more than that. It was, in some ways, the last hope for the Jedi Order to survive. If there was at least the smallest chance that Luke would connect with one of these stories, hopefully his sense of escapism would be reignited and he could aspire to follow in the Jedi's footsteps. It was a long shot, due to the insistence from his Uncle Owen to repress these urges, so the journal had to be kept secret for an indefinite amount of time, but Kenobi knew it would eventually reach Luke. As the rocks, pages, and words floated around him, Kenobi was starting to feel the full, disorienting effects of the mounting heat and endless loneliness. Telling how Master Yoda encountered a planet of tribal children, Obi-Wan described how he thought his face might melt from his skull. And then Kenobi took a pause. In the same dreariness and almost absent tone, he noted, "Ignore that last part, that's me." With the rocks and stationery continually swirling around him, it was becoming clear that the former Jedi Master couldn't keep this up for much longer. The more he forced himself to get these stories and experiences down on paper, the more physical danger he was putting himself in. But the one thing that kept him going was the one small chance that Luke would find these and be the last hope for the Jedi. This document had the potential to be the saving grace for the Jedi, and hopefully the light side as a whole. Though that seemed impossible right now, Kenobi still had hope. One thing Kenobi had learnt in his extended period of exile was to keep hope. Arguably, it was keeping him alive. Obi-Wan had managed to utilize his solitude for good, as opposed to letting it push him into the ever-present void of despair and loneliness. Recounting his adventures and traveling through his memories, through a deep connection with the Force, was keeping him stable and focused. So in tune with the Force he was that he wholeheartedly believed that these stories would finally reach Luke, and go on to steer the young Jedi apprentice towards the path of becoming a knight.